Welcome to the Calm and Clarity podcast. I'm India, and here we share insights and strategies to help you live with calm and lead with clarity. If you find this helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Let's dive in.
Welcome to another deep dive. Ever found yourself, maybe mid-40s, suddenly hit by this totally new wave of anxiety? Even if you've always handled things pretty well, you've juggled everything life throws at you, and then bam, it's 3 a.m., your heart's pounding, and you're worrying about things that never crossed your mind before. And when you mention it, you might just hear, oh, it's just stress, or, part of getting older. Sound familiar? You're definitely not alone.
Yeah, it's really striking how often those experiences are just brushed off. But our source for today, Navigating the Storm, a complete guide to understanding and managing perimenopausal anxiety, is super clear about this. This isn't just stress, and it's certainly not all in your head. It's perimenopausal anxiety. It's real, and it has a deep biological root.
Okay, so let's unpack that for you. Our mission today, to really demystify this whole thing. We want to look at why hormones cause this chaos, what it actually feels like day to day, and why midlife itself can feel like a perfect storm. Hopefully you'll leave this deep dive feeling clearer, validated, and really understanding this isn't some kind of personal failing. It's physiology. So perimenopause. It sounds a bit like menopause, but you're saying it's not the same. What exactly is this stage? Why is it still such a mystery for so many women going through it?
That's a really key question, and yeah, that's where a lot of the confusion starts. Perimenopause is, well, it's the transition leading up to menopause. It's basically your body gradually shifting gears, moving away from, full reproductive capability. It often kicks in during the late 30s or early 40s, and it can last, well, anywhere from 4 to 10 years. The average is about 4 years, according to the source. And crucially, during you're still getting periods. That's a big one. They just become irregular. That's kind of the hallmark sign. Menopause itself, that's technically just one day. It's the day that marks exactly 1 full year since your last period.
Okay. So it's not like falling off a cliff. It's more a long, winding road. You mentioned stages. Does the source sort of map out how that usually looks?
It does, yeah. It gives a pretty helpful timeline. First, there's early perimenopause. Think late 30s, early 40s. Changes are often subtle, maybe like PMS feels way worse, or periods get a bit heavier. Mood shifts you might just blame on stress.
Right, easy to miss.
Totally. Then you hit mid-perimenopause. This is often 40s into early 50s. Things get more noticeable here. Periods get clearly irregular. Maybe you have your first hot flashes, and definitely more anxiety, mood swings, that classic brain fog people talk about. And finally, there's late perimenopause. Usually the last year or two before menopause itself. Periods might stop for months at a time or become very far apart. Symptoms often peak here, more physical stuff too, like joint aches, sleep gets really disrupted.
Gotcha. And driving all this, the hormones, right? You mentioned estrogen and progesterone. Understanding them must be key.
Oh, absolutely central. Our source really focuses on these two. Estrogen, often called the feel-good hormone. It has a huge impact on your brain's serotonin system.
Serotonin, mood, sleep, right?
Exactly. Mood, sleep, appetite, anxiety, control. Estrogen helps boost serotonin production, makes the receptors work better, slows its breakdown. It's like a master key for feeling balanced.
Okay. And progesterone, you called it nature's Valium.
Yeah, kind of. Its main job is boosting GABA. That's your brain's main calming neurotransmitter. Think of it like the brain's brake pedal. Good GABA levels mean you feel calm, you sleep well, you're less jumpy under stress.
These sound like a great team when they're balanced. But perimenopause messes that up. They don't just gently drift downwards.
That's the absolute crux of it. They don't gently decline. They fluctuate wildly, like really erratically. Sometimes they soar super high, then they just plummet.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the trouble starts. Researchers talk about estrogen withdrawal. When estrogen drops fast after being high, it can trigger really intense anxiety symptoms. It's actually quite similar physiologically to the agitation someone feels during alcohol withdrawal.
So it's the swing more than just being low.
Often, yes. It's those dramatic fluctuations, the sudden drops, that can be the biggest trigger for severe anxiety. Your whole system gets destabilized because different parts of your body are trying to adapt at different speeds. It really sets the stage for anxiety, insomnia, all of it.
That makes so much sense why it feels so chaotic and, well, unpredictable. Is everyone's experience the same, or does it vary a lot?
Oh, it varies hugely. The source points this out clearly. Things like your genetics, family history, how sensitive your hormone receptors are, then your lifestyle stress levels, diet, exercise, sleep quality, your overall health history matters too. And even environmental factors like exposure to endocrine disruptors, those chemicals and plastics, pesticides that mess with hormones, they all play a part in your unique experience. So it's really important for you to understand this isn't about being strong or weak. It's this complex mix of biology, genetics, life circumstances.
Yeah.
Much of it outside your direct control.
Okay, understanding that hormone roller coaster is definitely step one, but how does that translate inside our brains? How do those swings actually create anxiety? Let's get into the neuroscience bit.
Let's do it. So that estrogen-serotonin link, remember estrogen acts like that master key for serotonin?
Yeah.
When estrogen levels suddenly tank, it's like pulling the rug out from under your serotonin system.
Yeah.
Your brain struggles to make enough, the receptors aren't as sensitive, so the result is your brain just can't use serotonin effectively. And that's when you get that awful feeling of not being yourself, crying at silly commercials, feeling totally overwhelmed by simple tasks, or just this constant low-level dread.
Wow. Okay. And progesterone's role, the natural Valiant, how does that fit in when it drops?
Right. So progesterone gets converted into something called allopregnanolone. It's a neurosteroid, and it's really good at boosting GABA, our calming brake pedal. But during perimenopause, ovulation often becomes irregular. Sometimes you don't ovulate at all in a cycle. And ovulation is the main trigger for progesterone production. So progesterone levels can drop quite dramatically, often even before estrogen starts its big fluctuations. Without that steady supply boosting GABA, your nervous system can kind of lose its brakes. It becomes hyper alert, hyper vigilant. That leads to those racing thoughts keeping you up at night, or feeling irritable, or just jumpy and on edge all day.
So it really is like a double whammy if both are fluctuating or low.
Exactly. That's often the toughest part. When both estrogen and progesterone are all over the place, you could have an estrogen crash, feeling intense panic after maybe feeling okay for a bit. Or you could be in a progesterone desert, feeling exhausted but completely unable to relax, that wired but tired feeling. Or maybe the most confusing is that hormonal roller coaster. One week you feel relatively normal, the next you're agitated and sleepless, the week after maybe you're weepy and anxious. It's just constant change.
The science behind this is fascinating. Are there specific studies that kind of illustrate this?
Yeah, the research is really helpful for validation. There was a Harvard Medical School study using brain scans, fMRI. They found when estrogen levels were low, the amygdala, that's your brain's fear center, showed much higher reactivity, even to neutral things.
So things that wouldn't normally faze you suddenly feel threatening.
Precisely. That normal, everyday noise might suddenly make you jump out of your skin. And another study from the University of Pennsylvania showed a direct link between progesterone decline and poor sleep. And we know poor sleep massively cranks up anxiety.
Right, the vicious cycle.
Exactly. And other research shows these hormone swings can actually make your body release more cortisol, the stress hormone, in response to everyday stressors, so everything feels more stressful.
It's complex stuff. Does the source offer any maybe simpler ways to picture this? Analogies?
It does, yeah, which can be really helpful. For you listening, try picturing your brain's mood system like a garden. Estrogen and progesterone are like the water and specific nutrients it needs. During perimenopause, the irrigation system goes haywire. Sometimes it floods, sometimes it's a drought, and your mood just reflects those chaotic conditions in the garden.
Okay, I like that.
Or think of your anxiety response like a home security system. Normally, hormones keep it calibrated just right. But in perimenopause, someone keeps messing with the sensitivity settings. So the alarm keeps going off for things that aren't actually threats.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And this anxiety, it doesn't just stay neatly in the brain, does it? It sort of ripples outwards.
Oh, absolutely. It creates this huge domino effect. Sleep problems are massive. Relationships can get really strained. Work performance often suffers. Physical health takes a hit. Think headaches, digestive issues, and it really chips away at your self-confidence.
Yeah.
Understanding these biological roots, though, that's the first step. It helps you see it's not you, it's the physiology.
That knowledge really is power, isn't it? Recognizing it's not some personal failing. So let's talk specifics. What does perimenopausal anxiety actually feel like? Because it sounds like more than just standard worry.
Much more. It's often a whole constellation of symptoms, emotional, cognitive, physical. Emotionally, many women are shocked by sudden, intense irritability, like disproportionate rage over small things. That happens because the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that helps regulate emotional responses, isn't getting that steady hormonal support, so your lid flips more easily.
And what about those scary racing thoughts people describe?
Yes, intrusive thoughts and catastrophic thinking are really common. And they often feel totally foreign, like, where did that thought come from? Yeah. Vivid, frightening images about loved ones. I was never a worrier, but now I can't switch it off. And this feeds into emotional volatility, those wild mood swings. Feeling okay one minute, tearful or furious the next. Our source calls it emotional whiplash.
Emotional whiplash?
Yeah.
I've also heard people say they feel like their skin is too thin. What's that about?
That's a great description. It reflects heightened sensitivity to criticism, conflict, even just sad news or movies. Things that wouldn't have bothered you before might feel suddenly overwhelming, deeply upsetting. You just feel raw, exposed.
And it's not just in the head, right? The body feels it too.
Oh, absolutely. The physical symptoms are very real and can be terrifying. Cardiovascular symptoms are a big one. Racing heart, palpitations, chest tightness. These often mimic heart problems and send women rushing to the ER.
Understandably.
Yeah. Then there are neurological and cognitive issues. Headaches, dizziness, that awful brain fog where you can't think clearly, memory lapses. These can be really scary, making you worry about things like early dementia. Your gut can get involved too, nausea, changes in appetite, IBS-like symptoms, and of course sleep disturbances. Trouble falling asleep, waking up frequently, racing thoughts at 3 a.m., feeling exhausted even after hours in bed. It creates that vicious cycle with anxiety.
It sounds totally disruptive. How does this typically play out in someone's day-to-day life?
Hugely destructive.
Yeah.
Professionally. Think, increased stress over deadlines, sudden imposter syndrome after years of competence, maybe panic about public speaking in relationships, more conflict with partners, withdrawing from friends because socializing feels draining. If you're parenting teens, their hormones plus yours, extra challenging. And for many in the sandwich generation, juggling kids and aging parents, well, the burnout just amplifies everything. It's not just inconvenient, it fundamentally changes how you navigate your world.
The source even validates the specific words women use, right? Like that jittery vibration or internal buzzing.
Exactly. That buzzing is often nervous system hyperarousal, wired but tired.
Yeah.
That paradox of being exhausted but unable to switch off, that feeling of losing myself or my skin doesn't fit, it captures that sense of alienation from your usual self and everything feels too much.
Yeah.
That sums up the overwhelm perfectly.
Yeah.
Think about, say, Sarah, 47, a marketing director, always confident, suddenly gets panic attacks before presentations, feels like a fraud. It clicked when she noticed her periods were off. Or Maria, 44, stressed with college apps and her sick mom, starts getting chest tightness. Multiple ER visits tell her it's stress. Linking it to hormonal shifts was the key.
It's so important to connect those dots. But we should also say, while we're exploring this, there are times when you absolutely need immediate help, right?
Definitely. Red flags would be things like frequent, severe panic attacks that really stop you in your tracks, any thoughts of self-harm that needs immediate attention, if you find you absolutely cannot function day-to-day, severe insomnia going on for more than a week, or persistent physical symptoms that worry you, like chest pain. Don't hesitate. Seek professional medical help right away.
Crucial point. Okay, so recognizing the symptoms is empowering, it validates things, but you mentioned one more layer, this perfect storm. Because this isn't happening in a vacuum, is it? It's hitting right when life is often incredibly demanding anyway.
That is such a critical piece of the puzzle. Perimenopause usually slams into women during those sandwich generation years. You're often juggling career peaks, teenage kids, aging parents, all at once. And the key thing our source emphasizes is these external stressors don't just add to the hormonal anxiety, they multiply it, they amplify each other.
I like the analogy you mentioned earlier, the stress bucket. Can you share that again?
Yeah, it's helpful. Think of your ability to cope with stress as a bucket. In your younger years, stable hormones helps keep that bucket strong, maybe quite large, it could hold a lot. During perimenopause, those hormone fluctuations are like punching holes in the bottom of the bucket. Suddenly, it takes way less stress for the bucket to overflow. Your baseline resilience has fundamentally shifted.
Right, and professionally, women are often at the peak of their careers then.
Exactly. Often in leadership roles, facing really complex challenges. And there's this leadership paradox. You're expected to be emotionally intelligent, composed, decisive, while internally you might be battling brain fog, anxiety, mood swings.
That must fuel imposter syndrome like crazy.
How hugely makes you constantly second-guess yourself. And seeing everyone else's curated perfect lives on social media doesn't help the comparison trap either.
And then there's everything happening at home.
Parenting teenagers with their own hormonal storms, maybe launching young adults, and very often taking on more caregiving for aging parents, emotionally and logistically draining work. Add your own health shifts on top of that. It's immense. And if your partner doesn't really get the biological side of what you're going through, that can strain the relationship too.
Plus, money worries often peak around this time too, don't they?
They really do. College fees, maybe helping adult kids, rising healthcare costs for parents and yourself, plus starting to really worry about retirement security. Some women even have to cut back work hours because of symptoms, adding more financial strain.
And then just dealing with your own body changing. That adds another layer.
It does. The weight gain, often around the middle, that just won't shift like it used to. Energy levels that are totally unpredictable, hot flashes, joint pain.
Yeah.
It can feel like your body, which you always relied on, is suddenly betraying you.
Yeah.
And changes in appearance, wrinkles, hair changes. It can bring up real grief about aging, about losing your youth. It's emotionally complex.
So it's definitely not just stress plus hormones. It really is stress times hormones.
It's multiplicative, absolutely.
Right.
Chronic life stress pumps out cortisol, that primary stress hormone. And high cortisol interferes further with estrogen and progesterone balance and how effectively they work. It becomes this really nasty feedback loop. Stress worsens hormonal symptoms. Hormonal symptoms make you less resilient to stress, and round it goes, intensifying the anxiety.
Wow. We have covered so much ground in this deep dive. So the big picture for you listening. Perimenopausal anxiety, it's real, it's biological, driven by those chaotic hormone shifts, and it gets seriously amplified by all the pressures of midlife. The absolute key takeaway, this is not a character flaw, it's not in your head, and you are so not alone in feeling this way.
And just knowing that, understanding the why, is incredibly empowering. It's the foundation you need to start finding strategies that work, seeking the right kind of help. When you recognize it's a predictable biological response, not you somehow failing, that shift in perspective is huge. It can really change everything in terms of how you approach it.
Definitely. And our source finishes with something quite powerful. It reminds us that yes, perimenopausal anxiety is treatable, absolutely. But it also says it's also an opportunity for profound growth and self-discovery. So maybe something for you to think about after this deep dive. As you navigate this storm, maybe with a bit more understanding now, what new strengths, what deeper self-awareness might you actually uncover? What could you learn about yourself through?
Thank you for joining us today on the Calm and Clarity podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who would love it too. I'm Desmond, and until next time, keep growing, keep grounding yourself, and keep living with calm and clarity. We'll see you in the next episode.